We talked about this at the top of the show, this desperate search underway right now for a deep-sea submersible that disappeared while investigating the wreckage of the Titanic. 5 people on board the vessel when it went missing. There's fear their oxygen supply may be running out. So many unknowns with this. Fox's Doug Luzader joins us live from Washington. Doug, good morning.
Good morning. Yes, so many unknowns. Here's what we do know is that this thing began apparently with an emergency supply of about 96 hours, the supply of 96 hours of air. It disappeared 2 days ago. So do the math. It got 2 days left to try to find this. This is one of the most advanced submersibles on Earth, but now it has disappeared. Named Titan, it's launched from a support vessel, and it is capable of reaching crushing depths, including the Titanic wreck, more than 2 miles down. And passengers have been willing to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to go along. The craft lost contact on Sunday morning with 5 people on board, just under 2 hours into its dive. The U.S. Coast Guard is now leading the search.
And we're doing that right now with the use of sonar buoys and sonar on the ship that's out there to listen for any sounds that we can detect in the water column.
The passengers are believed to include British billionaire and explorer Hamish Harding, who chronicled his journey on Instagram. Larry Daly has been on previous dives.
I'm very hopeful and very positive. I was in the sub for 12 hours. We have our own breathing system on board.
But that breathing system lasts for 96 hours. And even if Titan is found at depth, retrieving it may not be possible.
Worst situation is, something happened to the hull, and our fear is that, it imploded at around 3,200 meters. When you're talking 6,000 pounds per square inch, it is a dangerous environment. More people have been to outer space than to this depth of the ocean.
Yeah, and you think of how difficult it is to get down to that depth in the first place, to get down to the depth of Titanic, more than 2 miles down, and then you begin contemplating how to carry out potentially a rescue mission or recovery mission at that depth, and that's when you may be up against the bounds of what really can be done. But in the meantime, the search continues to see if they can locate this, and it may be underwater, it may have dropped ballast, it may be on the surface. That would be the ideal circumstance, but there's no sign of it yet. Dina.
Doug, I was trying to recall this earlier on air. Deep Sea Challenger, that is the vessel I believe James Cameron developed to do this mission, I think back in 2005. Any talk about help from private sector or anyone else who could assist with this?
Well, this is a private sector endeavor. So, the problem that we run into is that there are so few vessels that can go down to that depth. I mean, this is far beyond what a U.S. submarine can go to, for instance. And the amount of pressure, that's why the thing's so small and cramped, is because they have to devise something that can withstand those extraordinary pressures at that depth. So it would be one thing to perhaps send something down there to look around to try to locate it, but to get something down there that could actually manipulate something or free this if it's stuck, that kind of thing, it's just not clear how that would happen.
Ugh, it's just terrifying when you think about it all. Doug, I just want to ask you real quick, breaking news we had at the top of the hour about Hunter Biden's charges. Can you break that down for us?
Big news. We didn't expect this to come down today. This investigation has been going on for 5 years. It is an extraordinarily long investigation, given the kinds of charges that he was facing here. He's going to plead guilty to 2 tax charges. Those are misdemeanors. He's also going to plead guilty, though, to this felony gun charge. And, this, in theory, can carry with it a prison sentence. But he's going to enter a diversion program, it sounds like, so it's very likely that he will escape any kind of prison time. And, in fact, that gun charge may eventually be expunged. This is going to continue to be an issue out on the campaign trail, though.
And the investigation, or the Republicans are doing their own investigation, too, so that it's not quite over for him.
Well, and their investigation is really this larger issue of payments received from Ukraine and, whether there was corruption involving perhaps even the president himself. I mean, Hunter Biden received a lot of money at the time that his father was vice president. And there are questions as to you know, what possible qualifications he was bringing to the kind of job for which he received you know, pretty extraordinary compensation. So, you know, and by the way, the president denies any wrongdoing. It's important to say that. But this investigation, continuing investigation, is going to continue to be an issue, as we say, out of the campaign trail.
All right. Lots to discuss this morning. Doug Luzader, thank you.
Thanks, Dina.